Tallinn and a mysterious psych evaluator join Picard as he delves into a debilitating childhood memory in Picard's second season, 7th episode, Monsters. But what did I like, and what did I not enjoy so much? Before I get into this week's breakdown and review, please note this video contains spoilers, so if you've not yet seen Picard's latest episode, Monsters, or any of Picard's season 2 for that matter, this might not be the video for you. Let's warp into this. Picard sits, still in his tuxedo, in a ready room, seemingly aboard a starship, in a session with a gruff psych officer. The two engage in a bickering back and forth conversation. The psych officer wants to understand Picard and asks him to tell him a story. Relenting for a moment, Picard thinks back to a childhood memory of him and his mother painting monsters on the glass of the chateau's greenhouse. Picard's mother tells the young Jean-Luc that there's no better teacher than one's enemy. The paintings suddenly come alive and the two flee the room, heading down to the tunnels. There Picard falls and watches in horror as an unseen monster violently pulls his mother away. At the clinic, Tallinn uses a pointed earpiece to tap into Picard's mind, arriving in the darkened tunnels of Picard's memories of the chateau. Venturing further, Tallinn hears the voice of Picard from difficult moments of his life before discovering Jean-Luc's young self, refusing to leave the tunnels without saving his mother. The young Picard tells Tallinn that a monster took his mother and that everything down here is on his side. Suddenly the basement door slams shut, trapping the two inside. Back in the ready room, the psych officer informs Picard their evaluation session has concluded. Confused and growing increasingly irate, Picard is convinced this isn't real, but later admits to being stuck. The psych officer responds, "We are," drawing questions from Picard as to the officer's true identity. The officer doesn't answer, and instead digs further, speculating on a secret shame, a darker character that Picard may be hiding. Banging echoes throughout the room. Back in the basement, smoke fills the room, followed by monsters that attack the young Picard and Tallinn. Tallinn is able to fight them off, and realises that Picard is keeping himself stuck on purpose. Breaking his shackles, the two kick down the door and leave the basement, where they meet Picard and the psych officer, who the group discover is guarding a door where the banging appears to be emanating from. Picard now recognises the officer as his father, accusing him of breaking and ruining his mother. His father reveals the truth. His mother, suffering from mental illness, took the young Picard down to the cellar where he got trapped between some broken boards. It was actually Picard's father who rescued him, but he couldn't save his mother from her monsters. Picard laments on never really knowing his father. Tallinn consoles the younger Picard, telling him he'll do so much with his pain. Picard's mother then calls out, telling the boy that he's the only one who can save her. The young Picard then pulls out a key as Tallinn speculates that there may be more to this, just as she and Picard awaken. It's clear from the final moments that there is still more to be resolved here, but consider me deeply and frustratedly confused by the whole thing. What was this trying to achieve? What are we to learn from all this? Are we to learn that Picard might just be the most unreliable narrator in the galaxy? That the best way to deal with mental illness is to lock it away out of sight? That's a terrible lesson to learn. Visually, everything in these sequences looked great. The creature design, the creepy, unclear nature of it all, is very effective from a visual standpoint. The production design, the direction, and editing was all pretty tight here, and definitely a step up from some of the weaker stuff we saw in last week's episode. The inclusion of James Callis, better known to some as Gaius Bolter from Battlestar Galactica, was also pretty cool. Callis is a top actor, and watching him go one-on-one with Patrick Stewart didn't disappoint when reviewing this at surface level. And yes, I'm feeling pretty smug about calling his true identity as Maurice Picard. It is true what they say, a broken clock can indeed be right from time to time. But what really did me in here was all of the psychobabble nonsense. Line after line after line of vague, intellectual, sweet nothings espoused to deepen an ultimately basic mystery and also to pad out the episode's runtime. If you say something in a certain way at a certain speed with a certain inflection, anything can sound intellectual. Nothing said or learned in these sequences did anything to convince me that anyone actually knows what's going on. What was the point in all of this? And also, where on earth is Robert? Come on, guys. Rios attempts to protect Picard and Tallinn from interruption, but is ultimately unable to keep Teresa out of her own clinic, who enters the room to discover a comatose Picard and Tallinn. Using a neural oscillator beamed from the La Serena, Teresa successfully stabilizes Picard. Stunned by the development, Teresa asks Rios if he's from outer space. Rios denies being from outer space. He's from Chile. He only works in outer space. Rios and Teresa's son bond by defacing the walls of his mother's clinic. Rios then offers to show him and his mother something cool, beaming the shocked duo to the La Serena, revealing his spaceship and true nature. Short sequences, yes, but pretty sweet. Rios' direction has been pretty clear for a while now. Again, on the surface, things look fine, and the whole reuse of Kirk's classic "I'm from Iowa, I only work in outer space" line was perfectly fine as another winking nod to the voyage home. It also appears that Rios has, in fact, recovered his comm badge. I'm assuming that's his anyway. There's something that was so heavily featured early in the season. It's really odd that the resolution was so low-key here. But again, if we explore these scenes more, some questions do arise. Now, it's perfectly fine to assume that the Lacerina is now back to full power, but transporting a neural oscillator over to the clinic just like that in a split second? Remind me again why they couldn't save Elnor? And the biggest issue, with everything that's been said about non-interference and that whole butterfly thing, does anyone still care about the repercussions of meddling in the past? Clearly Rios doesn't. How can he be sure that Teresa's kid, who has just beamed over to an actual spaceship, isn't going to go and tell everyone about his experience and grow up radically altered by it all? Oh, I don't know. Maybe this is all just part of a predestination paradox or some other convenient time travel device that the writers will magic up to make it all okay. They're pretty handy like that. In any case, this is an insanely reckless crew. Searching for a missing Jurati, Seven and Raffi head back to the Lacerina. There they discover worrying security footage of Jurati using Borg technology to lock them out of the computer. Beaming into downtown LA, the two review more security footage of Jurati entering a bar and smashing a window. Heading to the bar's location, Seven realizes that by smashing the window, Jurati released a rush of endorphins, speeding up her transformation into a new Borg queen. So this was mostly forgettable stuff here, simply to ensure that there was some forward momentum heading into the final episodes. Seven and Raffi have been poorly used for most of the season at this point, and it appears the writers don't have much left except to return to the bickering buddy cop stylings the two were trapped in a few episodes back. I know it's been highlighted by others, but it's so strange how the two talk to each other. It's really not in line with the way people in the 24th or 25th century communicate. Anyways, Seven works out exactly what's going on with Jurati in seconds, another revelation that's been sped up purely for convenience. Jurati's assimilation process is very different to anything we've seen before. I can just about buy it given the fact that we've never seen the birth of a queen before. As for Jurati, Alison Pill has a single dialogue-free scene to work with here, but she rocks it. More Jurati and Queenie next week, please. Pretty please. Also, a Sunny Azel cameo. Nepotism! Recovered and reinvigorated following his mental ordeal, Picard learns from Tallinn that Renee has entered pre-mission quarantine and is safe from Q. Tallinn then reveals her true identity as a Romulan supervisor. Pleasantly surprised by this revolution, Picard nonetheless focuses on the task at hand. There's no better teacher than one's enemy, Picard remembers, realizing the need to summon Q. Picard meets once again with Guinan, who was stuck around following their initial encounter. Guinan reveals the El-Urians and the Q Continuum were once at odds with each other before striking a truce over a bottle she happens to have. Pulling the cork off the bottle, strange sounds rattle and permeate through the bar, destroying bottles and furniture in the process, but seemingly failing to summon Q. Instead, a seemingly ordinary man enters the bar, striking up conversation with Picard and Guinan about science fiction and science fact. Picard and Guinan act coy, but the man soon makes his intentions known, showing them footage of Picard beaming to the bar. He then reveals himself as an FBI officer as a squadron swarm in and arrest the two. With just a single line, it appears that Renee Picard's arc has wrapped. Was she a red herring? Or was it just an attempt to pad the season out to meet its 10-episode quota? I'll let you be the judge. Tallinn's reveal as a Romulan was fine, although perhaps a little bit predictable given that we'd seen all the signs in the weeks leading up to it. The earpiece thing that she used to meld with Picard was, for me, the clear giveaway though. I don't really care about it enough either way, although I am curious as to how she was able to appear in her human form inside Picard's mind. Something tells me we'll never get an answer to that. Guinan's second appearance was much better. Here Guinan felt far more like Guinan, albeit still a younger, edgier version. While it was fun to learn more about the El-Urian Q Continuum conflict, which does clear up over 30 years of mystery, I am also perfectly fine with some things never being known. We don't need an answer to every single mystery in Star Trek history. The summoning and repositioning of Q as some sort of genie in a bottle type, though, was just pure nonsense. Are we to believe that that was the actual bottle used to broker peace? It was all pretty vague, so let's assume no. If it is, though, what a remarkable coincidence that Guinan had it within arm's reach. Just think of the cosmic odds. The conclusion of the episode with the arrival of the FBI only raised more questions, but it did provide some entertaining Easter eggs. Agent Wells, played by Jay Carnes, previously appeared in Voyager's 5th season episode Relativity as Lieutenant Duquesne, officer aboard the USS Relativity, which is a Wells-class time ship. Now this could just be the writers having a laugh, but what if the agent is actually Duquesne, sent back to have a word with the La Serena about all their reckless shenanigans? This probably won't come as a shock, but I didn't like this episode very much. Another mess of an episode which raised more questions than it answered, boggled the mind with bizarre character actions, and once again played fast and loose with established lore. But my biggest issue with this week's episode, it completely killed the season's momentum. At least previous episodes flowed nicely and felt like a breeze. This episode just stopped things dead, giving us an hour of fake psychoanalytical nonsense and an amdram recreation of Pan's Labyrinth. It may have looked great, but as I've said before, looks mean nothing if there's little else to it. With just 3 episodes remaining, it looks like we're officially entering Picard Season 2's endgame, but will it be enough to save this floundering season? I'm giving Monsters 2 stars out of 5. But what did you think of this episode? Let me know in the comments below, and please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Star Trek reviews and recaps coming soon. Until next time, I'm the Trek Lad. Live long and prosper.